If you want to create these gorgeous little items with the things that you have at home and you think they're trash, please follow along and get your hands ready. It's going to be fun. For the first project, you will need some acrylic paint that you will mix with the baking soda in order to give it a little bit of more texture to look like ceramics. And you will need a container that you wanted to throw away. This container is the one that I had from cocoa powder, and I like the size and the shape of it, and I just did not want to throw it away because I need pen and brush holder. So I put 2 coats of this mixture because I wanted to get a little bit of more coverage and a little bit of texture. So always do 2 coats. Make sure to do that, but wait for the coats to dry. Once you do that, you will get this beautiful texture that looks like it was actually made of either clay or ceramics. And because I wanted to give it some extra dimension, I decided to make it a little bit aged, but with gold paint. And it turned out perfect. I really, really love it. By the way, I'm obsessed with gold lately. This is the second one, and I decided to do some actual painting, and I decided to paint the sun and the moon. There is no right or wrong here. It's totally up to you what you want to do and how you want to paint. As you can see, the sun was not completely perfectly centered, but that does not make it look any less pretty. I just love this gold sheen. So to do this, you don't really need to use acrylic paint if you want to add any details. You can always go for the markers if you have golden or silver or any color of your choice. It can be black, it can be green. It's totally up to you how you're going to do the design. Just to bear in mind that this kind of surface right now is very rough because it has that texture that we gave it, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult, and if you're using markers, they might get damaged. So use markers that you either don't want to use anymore or that you don't really care that are going to get destroyed in the process. So after this design dried, I used black marker to do some outline in order to accentuate the lines and the whole design. And it really brought the whole thing together. It looks so much better and I'm absolutely in love with it. I decided to do the same thing for the sun because it wasn't like very distinguishable with this color unless the sun was hitting it, and I wanted it to have a little bit more dimension. And because the sides seemed to be a little bit too empty, I decided to add a little bit of stars. Well, actually just one big star and a bunch of small ones. But those small ones you will see in a second. So the way I did the star was just paint across and then add the sides and then like fill them towards the center a little bit so to make it look like it's shining. So then after I finished with this, I decided to add some little dots, also golden, so that they look like the stars that are a little bit further away. And this kind of like brought the whole idea together. It really looks cute. I'm very, very pleased with this one. And this is the finished result for these two. I absolutely love them. They fit my aesthetics perfectly and they're going to be like perfect addition to the family. Next project is similar, but for this we need a glass bottle. I actually bought this bottle some time ago. It's a tiny one. I did not know why I wanted it. I just knew I wanted to have it. And now it has come to the point that I wanted to use it. The bottle was painted with the same mixture of baking soda together with some acrylic color, and now it's time to add some accents. Just as I did for that little container that's behind the bottle, I decided to do something with this little guy. But anyways, I wanted to do some kind of 2D effect, but it didn't really turn out the way I kind of imagined it in my head. So I decided to go for that kind of Mercury effect where there is like the frayed and aged look. And honestly, it turned out so much better than the rest of the ideas that I had for this. So you're just going to go around and make some accents, and then you're just going to smother the paint all around it as much as you desire. And this distressed look really goes well with this type of bottle, especially now that the Halloween is coming. You can probably create something that's going to be fun. And then, because I don't own any flowers, all the flowers that I get, I kill. And I'm allergic to actual flowers. So I decided to make a fake one out of paper. And it's just a simple one, nothing special. So I cut, this is the packing paper that you can get at any Office Depot or any store. And I just cut a leaf shape. I winged it. I did not really measure anything. I did not know how big I wanted it. But anyways, it doesn't really have to be perfect. It doesn't have to have a certain measure. And then I took the craft wire. So when you take the wire, you need to measure the length that you want to. Again, I eyeballed this. I used my pliers and chopped it. After I've done that, I used the glue gun to put it together with the paper. And, well, this was upside down, so here it is. Just put a few little blobs of glue on top and on the bottom. And then you will need another piece of paper on the other side in order to hide the wire. You don't really have to do this. If you want to leave the wire, that's also perfectly fine. Instead of glue gun, you can use double-sided tape. I did not have it, so I had to use what I did have. And once you put the glue everywhere, you're going to take the other piece of paper and put it on top, so you glue them together. And if you want, you can also use the paper glue and anything that you have at home. My advice is also not to glue all the sides, just the tip and the bottom and all the way where the wire is, because this is going to give a lot more texture and volume to this leaf. When this is all done, you're going to cut the leaf, to cut the excess paper, and then you are going to make some incisions on the side to give it a little bit more volume so that it looks like kind of palm leaf, even though it's actually not a palm leaf, but it's going to give a lot better look to this kind of design. And then you're done. This project is ready for display and it looks absolutely gorgeous. I'm in love with this one. I really love it, and my cat loves it too. For the third project, we need some air dry clay. We need a dish, any kind of bowl that you have. It can be plastic, it can be glass, so a scalpel or X-Acto knife, and a rolling pin. So you're going to take a little piece of clay. First you need to open it and then cut a little piece of clay and start rolling it out. The clay should be pretty soft, because if it's not, that means it's dry. And my advice is to put it in a plastic bag, pour some water in it, and leave it overnight. This will soften the clay. Once you roll your clay out to about 1/2 centimeter to 1 centimeter thickness, my advice is go a little bit higher. So yeah, make it a little bit thicker, like up to 1 centimeter, and it will be perfect. So once you do that, just place it over the plastic bowl or any bowl that you took, or any dish, or you can place it inside. I wanted it to have this square shape, so that's why I went for the outside. It's a lot easier. But pay attention to the fact that this air dry clay is going to shrink after drying. So maybe put a little plastic wrapper or something in order to not to break it and not to have it stuck. If you want to use the dish and put this layer on top of it, that's also possible, and it can look amazing, and also it will be waterproof. If you decide to take the dish out just the way that I did, to take this little bowl out, then it's not going to be waterproof, and there are ways to make it. I haven't found one that works for me yet, but anyways, that's a story for another time. So this is what it looks like when I took it out, and there were some little cracks and some little spaces that were not quite nice, so I just put extra clay, and once it was dry, this is what it looks like. So here is where I wish that I had a little bit more thickness, but it's still good. So I proceeded with filing. If you want, you can file this to perfection so that you have all edges completely smooth. However, I did not want to do that. I wanted to have a little bit of texture, but I still wanted to have some kind of like polished, more or less polished look to it. And that's what I did. So you can still see some grooves, you can still see some irregularities, but that's perfectly fine because that's what we want. At first I went with this gray color because I thought I wanted to do it gray, but somehow it did not sit with me. It was too dull, it was too boring. So eventually I took it off with the sanding paper and I colored it differently, which you will really soon see. However, I did do the inside with this beautiful teal color, and I'm just in love with this one. It's so vibrant and strong, and you will need to do 2 coats of the colors in general everywhere. Always 2 coats. As you can see, some parts are not as dark as the other ones. That's where you need another coat, sometimes even 3, depending on how thick your color is. So here you can see that I already painted the whole bowl with a different color, and this beautiful mauvey purpley pink is just something that I'm obsessed with. And I think that most of my things, including clothes and everything else, is similar color to this. And I think that this goes well with gold and silver and such colors, and I really love them. So once I did that and it dried, I did 2 coats, of course. I did some gilding. I used, again, the mixture of that transparent acrylic and gold pigment. And now I decided to paint not only the side, the top, but also inside and outside. And I kind of went for a little branch or a little plant, and I just went in circle and did the same thing for each and every one of them. I mean, for each and every side of the bowl. When the sun and when the light hits it, it really looks amazing. So here is what it looks like on the inside, and I just decided to add some leaves in order to make it a little bit more full. And because the bottom was kind of like boring, I started painting a circle and I painted a sun. And the sun was also a little bit different, and it's kind of cute. So it turned out amazing. So these kinds of crafts are also very good to make and sell. And if you have Etsy or you don't have Etsy, but you want to start Etsy or selling them on Instagram or whichever way, this is quite cute for gift, and you can also try to make them for yourself or for your friends and family, or as I already said, to sell. I'm going to keep this one for myself, and I did the design that suited me best. So once I finished the inside, I started painting the outside in the pretty much the same fashion. I was kind of thinking to try to do something different, but this design that I already did somehow went together, and I was like, okay, let's just do it the way it already is. But as I mentioned, you can personalize it, you can write a name, you can do the constellations, you can do practically anything that comes to mind, and also depending on your painting or drawing skills, because you can also always use markers for this. It's totally up to you, and the options are limitless. I really hope you enjoyed this little tutorial for the gifts that could be for the back to school or for the birthdays or any kind of season, or you don't really need a reason to give someone a gift, and that you're going to make some of them. If you do, please let me know how they turned out or tag me on Instagram. I would really love to see them. And this is the finished result of all of them. I am absolutely in love, and they are so cute. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please comment, like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.